In this short episode, we're going to talk about dashboards and charts. We're going to create a dashboard and we're going to build some charts as well as model views. So let's get started. Now, I must preface that we're just going to touch on the subject of dashboards, charts, and model views. I'll be talking about model views and various charts as we progress, not only in this series on delivering architecture, but in this channel as we move into the future. Now, our use case for this demonstration is going to be from a project management perspective. And so we have a project manager that has their own landing page, and they're able to get to views to use model view to see stakeholders involved as well as the roles involved. They have a couple of very simple, I want to say, charts that are in here in this particular view, but they want something a little bit more detailed that they can reflect on as they're moving forward. Project manager is going to use their namespace to build another package or namespace simply called project dashboards. We're going to create a diagram in here, and there's a couple of diagrams that you can choose from. In the extended types, if you scroll down here, you're going to see dashboards. Let's create one here, right? So now we have a blank diagram with a toolbox for charts. It has a lot more other elements that you can choose from. We're just going to talk about a couple of them. Now, in this blank diagram, using the chart toolbox, you see that we have option of pie charts and bar charts. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the first one, elements by status as a pie chart. Just drag and drop it in, and then select the package that you want to filter. We're going to go to requirements management, and we're going to hit OK. This dialog pops up. You can see that it's starting to create the chart that's in here. The series is element status, and you can change what you want the series to be about. We're going to leave it at the default. You can change the current model that we're looking at, or you can actually go out to other projects or Sparx SQL databases and build charts. But that's more advanced subject. We're going to stay in this session just on current model, what we've already done, and we're going to hit OK. Right? So now we get a pie chart here. There's only two states that the requirements are in. That's either validated or proposed. And we'll show this a little bit more later on. But let's say you want to change from a pie chart to a 2D bar chart. All right. Now we're going to hit OK. And now you can see that the chart is representing the elements by status that are in this namespace. Now, elements. Well, everything in here is an element. Packages are elements. There's other elements that are in here. So this is not an accurate view of elements by status in this namespace. So let's slide this down here, make it a little bit smaller, and we're going to build another more specific chart that represents the requirement views that we're looking for. What we're going to do is go down to dashboard right here. We're going to bring in a standard chart, drag and drop it in. And you can give it a name now, and let's just call it requirements by status. And there you go. You can change the name at any time you want over in properties. So what we're going to do next is we're going to double click and open this up. So this standard chart is default is file, and we're going to start with file, and then we're going to choose the other types of standard charts that we can go by. But we're going to go over to custom SQL, and we're going to write some custom SQL for this chart. This session's not about SQL. I already wrote some SQL, and basically you need to follow this form, series, and group name. So we go in, we're mining the T object table. P data 1 is where we're going to find status, and then the object type is going to be the group name from the T object table. Very simple SQL where the object type is requirement. Let's go ahead and hit OK. I'm going to interrupt for a quick tip. So we're going to go to search, model, and you're going to have your own category if you're creating custom searches called My Searches. And then I usually have a couple of test SQL areas where I'm able to turn on the scratch pad and then write some custom SQL. In this case, we're looking at everything from the T-object table. Let's go ahead and run this. This way I can see the columns that I want to choose, and then I can replace this asterisk, those that know how to write SQL. We want to look at object type and name, and let's say pdata1. Right now, let's run this SQL. Right now we see object name. I can come in here, turn on filter. I can say, hey, I just want to look at requirements. And now I'm able to see, all right, I have the name of whatever the requirement element is. And then I know that pdata has the status for these requirements. And so I can learn to write my SQL very quickly here before I go back and I start dealing with dashboard views where I want custom SQL. So just a quick tip, let's move on. So what's interesting here is that this is a file view of proposed and validated, right? We're going to double click on this and we're going to change this to a 2D bar chart and hit OK. So now in this chart that standard chart we just created, we're looking at requirement, and then we're looking at a count. So this is your y-axis, this is your x-axis. And there's only 2 states of the requirements so far. And it's only looking at the requirement type. Notice the difference here between proposed 34 and elements by status in the same namespace is 53. Validated is 6 and validated here is 6. So it's more accurate to do your own SQL to get exactly the data, the intelligence, the analytics that you're looking for. Let's talk about model views next. I'm going to skip time series and deal with that one in a later session. But let's bring in a model view, right? Drag and drop it, and let's give it a name, remaining proposed requirements, all right? Let's double click this, open it up, and we're in the SQL view where we're going to add some custom SQL. Now, in this case, our custom SQL is using the count statement in SQL, and we're going to tag it as in progress from the T-object table where it's looking at object type requirement, and then it's looking in the P-data column for proposed, mandatory, and validated, right? These are the stats or status rather that are for requirements other than approved. Let's go ahead and hit OK. So now we have a simple count that there are 40 requirements that are in progress. Let's go ahead and just give this a size that big and then roll back up. All right. And then let's size it up a little bit more for our reuse. Now this model view represents remaining proposed requirements. Let's bring in another model view and let's call this one approved requirements. And let's open it up and write some SQL here that's looking for approved requirements. Again, we're using the count keyword in SQL and we're looking for as approved. We're looking for the status, which is in the pdata1 column. And you learned this previous video when I was talking about the various tables, and there's almost 100 of them. T-object is probably one of the most important, but you can watch that video if you want to. Where the object type is a requirement. Let's go ahead and hit OK. Right? Let's right click on this one after we select both of them and give that one the same width and height. Right? So now we see approved requirements. There are 0. Nothing's been approved. In progress 40. And this could be constantly changing. Let's go to requirements and look at specification manager. And we're looking at this from the view of business requirements. And let's say that this is mandatory, right? Clients are saying that this is absolutely mandatory. It's not proposed. You must deliver it, right? And then when we go down through here, let's say that this one is validated, all right? And then let's say down here, the client says that this one is mandatory, right? Nothing's implemented yet. And you learn about Specification Manager in another video, and I'll try to include the link below, right? So now that we've changed some status, let's go back to the dashboard and let's reload it. So we just right click anywhere in the diagram, reload the diagram. And when we reload it, now we see that we've got 31 proposed. We have 2 that are mandatory, and we have 7 that are validated. And down here, element by status, the counts aren't accurate because they're all elements. We see some changes have been made there. And then over in these model views, you can see that nothing has been approved yet. Let's go ahead and approve one of the requirements, all right? So let's say we're going to approve this one, right? We've changed the status. We can either refresh the particular diagrams or charts themselves by right-clicking on them, refresh chart, or we can right-click in a blank area of the diagram and reload the diagram. And now everything that this diagram is looking at is refreshed. So now we look at remaining proposed requirements. There are 39. 1 has been approved. We go back to Specification Manager and we go back to the project dashboard. There's a bug in Sparx that I reported a long time ago that's still there. And you're, well, where's my tools for charts? So how you rectify that is by simply going to another diagram type. You can choose anything you want. And then when you come back, you'll see that the diagram toolbox is correct for this diagram. Since this is a real project, I want to go back and change things back to where they were proposed. Then I'm going to reload the diagram, and now we're back to current state for this to start this requirements analysis as we get into solution approach and further the project. I hope this session was helpful for you. I just wanted to touch on charts and model views and dashboards as we proceed. We're going to be getting back into this subject quite a bit as we progress in this channel, whether it's the current series on delivering architecture or other sessions. We're going to be getting into mining data out of big data repositories, out of other SQL repositories. And that's a bit of a complex subjects area. So we hope to get into that soon. It's very exciting to me to actually understand when you get lots of projects that are going on all at the same time, especially project management, but myself as a chief architect, enterprise architect, and solution architect, I want the ability to see what's going on across the entire landscape for a company that I'm working with. Until the next video, thanks for watching and happy modeling.